Welcome back. We are starting with our third part, that is percentage of percentage. Percentage of percentage. Okay. In these problems, we have to find percentage of percentage. Now, for example, see this problem. In a big garden, 60% of trees are coconut trees and 25% of number of coconut trees are mango trees and 20% of mango trees are apple trees. Okay. So, like this we have to find percentage of percentage. Okay. So, how to approach such problems we'll see in this video. Okay, see the first problem. In a big garden, 60% of trees are coconut trees. 25% of 60% trees are coconut trees. Of 60% of trees means what? 60% of total trees. So, whatever are total trees, so 60% of that total trees are coconut trees. 25% of number of coconut trees are mango trees. Okay, so whatever the coconut trees are, 25% of those number of coconut trees are mango trees and 20% of mango trees. Okay, so whatever are the number of mango trees, 20% of those mango trees are apple trees. Okay, if the number of apple trees in the garden are 1440, then find the total number of trees in the garden. So, they are asking us what are the total number of trees in the garden. Okay. So, this we will solve it in again two types, that is advanced method and traditional method. Okay. So, first we will solve it with traditional method. Okay. So, in this traditional method, I will use tree method. Okay, in this tree method we will follow. That is, see here, the total number of trees we don't know. Okay, we will assume it as 100. Okay, then coconut trees are how much? 60%. Coconut trees are 60% of total trees. So, 60% of 100 will be 60. 60% of 100 is 60. Okay. Then how many are mango trees? Mango trees are 25% of the number of coconut trees. So, 25% of 60 is how much? Okay. We know 25% is 1 by 4 of 60. Okay. Then it will be 4 ones are 4, 15s are. So, 15. Mango trees are 15. Then and 20% of mango trees. Okay, 20% of mango trees are apple trees. Okay. So, how much? 15% of, sorry, 20% of 15. 20% means we know it is 1 by 5. So, 20% of 15 is how much? 5 ones are, 5 threes are. So, it is 3. Okay. So, apple trees are 3. So, we know that total apple trees are 1440. So, if 3 parts is 1440, because we know apple trees are 3, isn't it? That 3 parts it is. Okay. So, if 3 parts is 1440, they are asking what are total number of trees. That means 100 parts is how much? Okay. So, 100 divided by 3, 100 by 3 into 1440. Okay. So, that is 3 ones are, 3 fours are 12, 2 will remain, 3 8s are 24 and this 0. So it is 480. These two zeros, add them. So it is 48,000. So total number of trees are how much? 48,000. So this was the traditional method. Now we'll see shortcut method, how to solve it. Okay. Okay. Now we don't know what is total number of trees. So let total number of trees, I'll assume it as x, total trees. Okay. So x into, so coconut trees are how many? 60% of total trees are coconut trees. So 60%, I will write it as 3 by 5. How we got this 3 by 5? See here, 60% is nothing but 3 into 20%. So 3 into 20% we know it is 1 by 5. So it is 3 by 5. Okay. So this is coconut trees. Okay. So 60% I write it as 3 by 5 in the fraction form. So total number of trees 3 by 5 of total trees are coconut trees. Then this is coconut trees. Now mango trees are how many? It is, mango trees are 25% of coconut trees. So it is 25%, I write, we know it is directly 1 by 4. Okay. So I'll write it into 1 by 4. This will give me mango trees. Okay, coconut trees 1 by 4, that is 25%. 25% of coconut trees are mango trees. Now into 20% of mango trees are apple trees. 20% of mango trees are apple trees. Okay, so 20% we know it is 1 by 5. So this was of mango trees. So this is of apple trees. So 20% of mango trees are apple trees. So 20% I'll write it as 1 by 5. So this is what? Apple trees. Okay. And we know apple trees are 1440. Okay. So this whole thing is equal to 1440. From this, when we solve, we will get x value. X is nothing but total, isn't it? So therefore, when we solve this, what we get? 3 ones are 3, 4s are 12, 2 will remain, 3 8s are 24 and 0. And here it is 5 5s are 25, 4s is 100. So it is x is equal to 4080 into 100. Therefore, x is nothing but 48,000. Okay. So in just one line we got the answer. X is 48,000. Okay. So this was the shortcut method. We'll go for the next problem. Okay. A man spends 40% of his salary on food. 40% of his salary he is spending on food. Next, 20% on house rent. Okay, 20% he is spending on house rent. 10% on entertainment. 10% he is spending on entertainment. And 10% on convenience. Okay, 10% he is spending on convenience. If his savings at the end of the month is rupees 1600, then his salary per month is how much? Okay, salary is how much they are asking. Okay, so what is his expenditure? Total expenditure is what? We know expenditure plus savings is nothing but income, isn't it? So what is his expenditure? Total expenditure 40% he is spending on salary. Okay, plus 20% he is spending on house rent. Okay, then 40% he is spending on food and 20% on house rent. Then 10% he is spending on entertainment. Okay, plus and 10% on convenience. So totally how much he is spending? 40 plus 20 is 60, 70, 80. 80% of his salary he is spending. And after spending, what will be his, this is spending. Okay, so after spending, how much is remaining? 20% is remaining, isn't it? So 80% of his salary he is spending and 20% of his salary is remaining. Now we know savings is 1600. Saving is nothing but this 20%. So I can say that if 20% is 1600, because we know 20% is in savings in percentage and in rupees it is 1600. Okay, if 20% is 1600, then 100% we want his total salary, isn't it? So 100% is how much? Okay, so 100 by 20 into 1600. Okay, so it is 1s are 5s are 16 5s are 80 and these two zeros. So his total salary is how much? 8,000. Okay, 8,000 is his total income or salary. Okay, next problem. Out of his total income, Mr. Kapoor opens 20% on house rent and 70% of the rest on household expense. If he saves rupees 7,200, what is the total income? Okay, so this we can again solve it in two types, that is tree method what we discussed earlier, traditional method, and advanced method which we can do it in just one step. Okay, first we will see with the tree method. Now, out of his total income, Mr. Kapoor opens 20% on house rent. Okay, sorry, this should be spends. Out of his total income, Mr. Kapoor spends 20% on house rent. Okay, if total income, let us assume of it to be 100. Okay, 20% on house rent he is spending. Okay, house rent, how much? 20%. So 20% of 100 is 80. Okay, 80%. Sorry, 20% he is spending it on house rent. Then remains how much? Rent he is spending. Okay, then remains how much? 80%. Okay, then 70% of the rest on household expense. Okay, now how much is remaining? 80% is remaining. Now 70% of this remaining, 70% of 80% he is spending on household. Okay, so what is 70% of 80%? So 7 into 8, 56. So 56 he is spending it on household. So what will be the remaining after he spend it this much on household? Okay, this much is spending on household. Then what will be the remaining? Remaining is 24%, because in 80%, 70% of 80% is 56%. So 56% goes on household. So out of 80%, if 56 goes, then what will remain? 24. So this 24% is his, okay, 70% of the rest on household expense. If he saves rupees 7,800, now finally 24% is remaining. So he saves rupees 7,200, they are saying. So what is the total income? So in percentage wise 24% is remaining, and in rupees wise 7,200 is his savings, isn't it? So if 24% savings is nothing but 7,200 in the form of rupees, then what is 100%? 100% is his income, isn't it? So what will be 100%? Okay, so 100 by 24 into 7,200. So this is 24 ones are 24, 3s are 72, and these two zeros as it is. So 300 into 100 will be 30,000. Okay, so 30,000 is his income. So this was tree method. So advanced method, we will see how can we solve it in just one step. Okay. Now let us assume his total income. This is advanced method. Okay, then total income to be X. We know that 20% on house rent he is spending. So after spending 20%, what will be remaining? 80% will be remaining. So X into 80%. Okay, this is remaining. After spending on house rent, this much is remaining. Okay, then 70% of the rest. Now if this is rest, 70% of this he is spending on household. So after spending 70%, now if I assume that 80 itself is 100%, okay, then 70% of this 80, that is 100, he is spending on household. Okay, so 70% of 100 if it is spent, what will remain? 30% will remain. So this 30 by 100, this whole thing is nothing but his savings. Okay, which is equal to, we know his total savings is 7,200. Okay, so after cancelling, what will remain? 0, this 0, this 0, this 0 goes. Then 8 3s are 24, 24 into 3. Therefore, X is equal to 300 into 100 will be 30,000. Okay, so 30,000 is his income. Hope you have understood. Okay, once more we'll discuss this advanced method. Now we know that his total, let us assume his total income to be X. Okay, total income is X. Now a 20% on house rent he is spending. Okay, 20%. So after spending 20% of the income spent, how much will remain? Remains how much? 80%. Okay, so into 80 by 100. Okay, this is the remaining thing. Because why we are doing this? Because in the next statement they are saying 70% of the rest on household is spending. So 70% of the rest is how much? So if I take this, we get remaining, that is resting. Okay, remaining or rest. Okay, this will give us rest. Then 70% of this he is spending on household. So 70% of the rest he is spending on household. So if the rest, if I take it as 100, okay, 70% is spent, then how much will remain? 30% will remain. So this into 30%. Okay, so after spending all these things, he is saving 7,200. So this whole thing is nothing but savings. Okay, because this is after spent whatever is remaining. This is after spent whatever is remaining. Okay, so the whole thing is what? This is remaining thing, that is savings. Okay, that is equal to, we know it is 7,200. So now after cancelling, okay, we get x is equal to 30,000. Okay, so hope you have understood. So in one line we can solve this problem. Next, coming to the next problem. A person spends 25% of his income on house rent, 20% of the remaining part on food, and 10% of the remaining part on travelling, and finally saves rupees 8,100. Then find his total income. So what they are saying, so this previously we have solved such problem, the previous problem. So here directly I will do this. Okay, a person spends 25% of his income on house rent. So let x be his total income. Okay, so 25% of his income on house rent he is spending. 25% on house rent. Okay, so after spending 25%, how much will remain? 75% will remains. So this I will multiply here, 75 by 100, because this will give us the rest. Okay, next, 20% of the remaining on food, because 20% of this remaining whatever is there, no, that he is spending on food. So 20%, okay, if of the remaining, if he spend on food, so remaining means nothing but I will assume it as 100. So if 20% of 100 is spent, then what will remain? 80% will remain. So this I will multiply into 80 by 100. So this will give us again the remaining rest. Okay, next, 10% of the remaining on travelling. Now 10% of this remaining he is spending on travelling. So 10% of the remaining, that is again I take remaining means 100. So if from 100 if he spends 10%, then how much will remain? 90. Okay, so this again I will multiply into 90 by 100. This will be his again remaining, again rest part. Okay, then and finally saves rupees 8,100. So finally he is saving rupees 8,100. So this whole thing is nothing but the savings after everything is spent, because I am taking the remaining things here. I have removed house rent ka spent here, then food ka spent I have removed, and this will be the remaining, and after travelling if I remove, this will be the remaining. Okay, so all these things are remaining things. Okay, these are remaining things of total income. So this whole together will give us savings. This whole together will give us savings. Okay, this whole savings is equal to 8,100. So now cancel it directly. 0, 0, 0, 0 cancels here. 25, 3s are 25, 4s are 4 1s are 4 2s are 8. Okay, then 2 1s are 2, 5s are 10 and 0. Now 3 nines are 27. 27 3s is 81. 0 0 as it is. Okay. So now further we cannot cancel, therefore x is equal to, here 150 is there, so 300 into 50, therefore x is equal to 3 5s are 15 and 3 zeros as it is, so 15,000 is his income. Okay. So this is all about percentage of percentage topic. Now finally we will see some election based problems, and this will complete the percentage short tricks. Okay. We'll see some election based problems. This is part 4. Election based problems are also very important because in every exam, either it is bank or SSC, CGL, railways, anywhere, election based problems will be there. Okay. So before going to this election based problems, we'll see some basic thing. Okay. First is, in election based problems, first we should know about voter list. So what is voter list? This is the list of people who are eligible to vote. Okay, list of people eligible to vote. Now all people are not eligible to vote, isn't it? So only people who are having, now if I ask who is eligible to vote, you will say 18 plus people are eligible to vote. It's not like that. Not just 18 plus people are eligible to vote, but also not all 18 plus people are having voter ID, isn't it? Only the person who is having voter ID can vote, isn't it? So voter list is the list of people who are eligible to vote. That means who are 18 plus and who are having voter ID of that particular area. Okay. So those persons are only eligible to vote. So this voter list contains only people who are eligible to vote. Then after voting, okay, we have something called as polled votes. Polled votes means what? These are the votes which are casted. Votes casted or votes given by the people. Votes casted by the people. Now, not necessary that from all the people from the voter list come for voting, isn't it? Not all people will come for voting. Only some people will come, isn't it? So those people who come and give their vote, we call them as polled votes. Okay. Now after voting, all votes might not be valid. Okay. We consider only valid votes. Why valid votes? Because some will be invalid votes. Some might be invalid votes, but we are not worried about, even though some polled votes are there, not all polled votes are valid votes, because some might be invalid in them because they might have not given proper thumb impression, not proper pressing the button. Okay, some will be invalid votes. So from polled votes, we are considered only with valid votes after removing the invalid votes. Okay. Now these valid votes are distributed among the candidates. Okay, the candidates get the number of valid votes. The candidates get number of valid votes. Now if for example, if two people are contesting an election, so this valid votes will be divided, okay, among those two candidates, candidate 1 and candidate 2. Okay, the candidates will get only the number of valid votes. Okay, so this is the introduction about election based problems. We should know what is voter list, what are polled votes, what are valid votes and what are invalid votes. Okay, voter list means it is that list of people who are eligible to vote. Okay, it is the list where only eligible people are there in the list. Polled votes means the people who are not all people in the voter list are, will vote. Polled votes are the votes which are given by the or casted by the people. Okay, then valid votes. Valid votes are those votes which are valid, okay, after removing the invalid votes. Now after we get the valid votes, these valid votes are distributed among the contested candidates. Okay, the contested candidates will get the number of valid votes whatever they are having. Okay, now after this brief description about election based problems, we'll see our first problem. Now, in an election between two candidates, one got 55% of the total valid votes, 20% of the registered votes were invalid. Okay, in an election between two candidates, one got 55% of the total valid votes. Okay, and 20% of the registered votes. 20% of the registered votes were invalid. Okay, so 20% of the registered votes were invalid. If the total number of votes were 7,500, okay, if the total number of votes were 7,500, then number of valid votes that the other candidate got was, okay, the number of validate the other candidate got was how much they are saying. Okay, now we know that first candidate got how much votes? 55% of valid votes. Okay, 55% of valid votes he got. Then when we know 55% of valid votes the first candidate got, then obviously we can say no, the second candidate got how much? He might have got 45%, because if we say 100% are the valid votes, okay, if 55% is got by the first candidate, then the remaining will be got by the second candidate, because there are only two people contesting. If first person got 55%, then obviously second person gets how much? 45% of the valid votes. Okay, then we know that invalid votes are how much? Invalid votes are 20%. Okay, then polled votes, registered votes are nothing but polled votes. Okay, votes which are casted. So polled votes are how much? 7,500. Okay, they are saying if the total number of votes are 7,500, so total number of votes are nothing but the votes given by the people, that is polled votes. If polled votes are 7,500, then the total number of valid votes the second candidate got is how much? The other candidate is nothing but the second candidate they are saying. Okay, so this second candidate got how many votes they are asking. Okay, now we know total votes is 7,500. Okay, then from this total votes 20% are invalid. Okay, if 100% are the votes, if 20% are invalid, then valid votes will be how much? Valid votes will be 80%, isn't it? So into 80 by 100, because these are the valid votes of total votes. Okay, valid votes of total votes into. Now they are asking what is the second, how much number of valid votes the second candidate got. We know 45% of valid votes are got by second candidate. So if this is the valid votes, okay, then the second candidate got 45% of the valid votes. Okay, so this, when we cancel the things, we will get the number of valid votes the second candidate got. Okay, now if they had asked us how much the first candidate had got, then instead of 45 we should write here 55. then that would give us how much the votes first candidate got. Okay. Now, so when we cancel this, it is 0, 0, 0, 0 cancels here. Then 25 3s are, 25 4s are, 4 1s are, 4 20s are. So, okay. So, it is 3 2s are 6, 60 into 45. 60 into 45. So, 45 6 is, 6 5s are 30, 6 4s are 24 plus 3 is 27 and this 0. So, the second candidate got how much? 2700 votes. Okay, the second candidate got 2700 votes of valid votes. Okay, 2700 votes the second candidate got. If they had asked us how much the first candidate got, so instead of this 45, we should use here 55. Okay, then that would give us the number of votes first candidate got. Okay, so we'll go for the next problem. In an election between two candidates, 75% of the voters cast their votes, out of which 2% of the votes were declared invalid. A candidate got 9,261 votes, which were 75% of the valid votes. Okay, find the total number of votes. Then what they are saying? Total number of votes they are asking. So we don't know what are total number of votes. So let total number of votes be X. Next, 75% of the voters cast their votes, means these are polled votes. Polled votes are the votes given by the people. How much they are? 75%. Next, out of which 2% of the votes were declared invalid. Okay, so invalid votes are how many? Invalid votes are 2%. Okay, then a candidate got 9,261 votes, which were 75% of the valid votes. Okay, so valid votes, 75% of valid votes were how much? 9,261. Okay, they are saying 75% of valid votes, they are giving the number. How much it is? 9,261. This is valid votes. Okay, now how, see here, if X is the total number of votes, X into 75% of the voters casted their votes. If X 75, so X is the total number of votes. Okay, so 75% of voters casted their votes, so into 75%, this will give us polled votes. Total number of votes, sorry, total number of votes is nothing but the voters. Okay, in the, find the total number of voters it should be. Okay, total number of voters. So total number of voters means it is the voter list they are asking us. Okay, so not necessary that all voters in the list should vote, isn't it? So from this voter list, only 75% people are giving their votes. So if X is the total number of voters, okay, 75% of total voters, okay, are casting their votes. So this X into 75% will give us polled votes. Okay, then into, now we know from this total polled votes 2% are invalid. Now when we know that 2% are invalid, then valid will be how much? Remaining 98%. Okay, out of 100, if 2% is invalid, then remaining 98 will be what? Valid votes, isn't it? So polled votes ka 98% is how much? Valid votes. If this is the total polled votes, 98% of this total polled votes are valid votes. So this will give us valid votes. Okay. Next, we got valid votes. Now we know that 75% of valid votes, 75% of valid votes are 9261. So we know this is valid votes till here. So 75% of this valid votes are how much? 9261. Okay. So when we solve this, we'll get the value of x, and they are asking x only, the total number of voters they are asking. Okay. So cancel all this. 25 3s are 25 4s are, same here, 25 3s are 25 4s are. Okay. 4 1s are 4. Sorry. So 4 2 2s are 4 2. 4s are 9s are. Okay. Okay. 49 1s are 49 2s are okay, 49 1s are 49. Then 7 7s are will cancel. Okay, 7 7s are 49, 7 1s are 7, 2 will remain, 7 3s are 21, 1 will remain, 7 2s are 14, 2 will remain, 7 3s are 21. Okay. Then again from 7 we can, it goes 7 1s are 7, 1s are 7, 7 3s are 56, 6 will remain, 7 2, again 6 will remain, 7 9s are. Okay. Next 3 1s are 3, 6 are 18, 3 3s are 9. Okay. Again 3s are we cancel, 3 1s are 3 2s are 3 1s are. Okay. Next here 2 is here, 100 is there, and 4 is here. So therefore x is equal to, this will be 800. So 21 into 800, which will give us 16,800. Okay. So the total number of voters in the voter list were how many? 16,800. Okay. I'm going to the next problem, and this is the last problem of this type. In an election between two candidates, 11 won by 9% voters did not cast their votes. 12.5% cast votes were declared invalid, and the winner got 60% of the total valid votes and won by 7,000 votes. Find the number of voters in the voting list. So again they are asking what is the number of voters in the voting list. Okay, or the total number of voters they are asking. Okay, so we don't know total number of voters. Let total number of voters be x. Next, we know that 11 won by 9% voters did not cast their votes. Okay, so how many people did not cast their votes? Did not cast. So it is 11 1 by 9%. So 11 1 by 9%, we know it is equal to 1 by 9. Okay. So how many did not cast? 1 by 9 people did not cast. So how many casted their votes? So from 9, if 1 did not cast, then how many will cast? 8 by 9. Okay. So from 9 parts, if 1 part did not cast, so 9 minus 1 is 8. So 8 by 9 casted their votes. Okay. Then we know that 12.5% casted votes were declared invalid. Okay. 12.5% were invalid. So invalid votes are how many? 12.5%. So we know 12.5% is nothing but 1 by 8. Oh, so 1 by 8 people did not vote. Were invalid. So valid will be how much? From 8, if one part is invalid, okay, from 8 minus 1 will be 7 by 8. And then 7 by 8 will be valid votes. Valid votes. Okay. Then winner got 60% of the total valid votes. Okay. So we know that winner got 60% of the valid votes. Then loser will get how much? Loser will get 40%. Isn't it? We know loser will get 40%. Now, difference between winner and loser is how much? 20%. Means the winner is winning by loser by 20%. And in votes we know it is 7,000. Means the winner is winning the election by loser by 7,000. Isn't it? So that means 20%, if 20% is 7,000, then that is 20% means what? 1 by 5. So 1 by 5 is 7,000. Okay. Sorry. So we can say that if X is total votes, then 8 by 9 people voted, isn't it? These many voted. Then 7 by 8 people, 7 by 8 were valid votes. Okay, these many people voted, and from the voted votes, valid votes were how many? 7 by 8. Okay, then 20% of valid votes. Okay, 20% of, we know that 20% of valid votes are 7,200. We just now saw, isn't it? 20% of valid votes, because the winner won by 20%, isn't it? And from votes he won by 7,000. So 20% is nothing but equal to 7,000. So 20% of valid votes are 7,200. Sorry, 7,000 it is. Okay. So 20% of valid votes are 7,000. Therefore, valid votes, 20% means what? It is 1 by 5 of valid votes. So if this thing is valid votes, 1 by 5 of this valid votes is nothing but 7,000. Okay. So in one line we formed the question. Okay. So solve this. 8 cancels. 7 1s are 7,000. So 9 5s are 45 it is. Therefore, X is equal to 45 into 1000, which is equal to 45,000. Okay. So in just one line we formed the full question. So it is total voters were how many? 45,000. Okay. This completes the problems of election based problems. Thank you.